Hi folks, it's Sean from Killline Pest Control. I thought I would show you the honest truth of what happens within a honeybee extraction. So we often see the videos on TikTok, Reels, highlights, whatever it's called, of saving bees and how they find the queen and they put that queen in the box and there is a march of bees in towards the box and everything goes great and stuff like that. We've done 2 extractions today and you'll see they're in nearly exactly the same place. But we started really early on the extraction. We had them in the box by about 11 o'clock. But we've decided on this occasion to leave the boxes in place until this evening, until it's dark, to try and collect as many live bees as possible. Now that isn't always possible. That isn't always an option, because if robbing had have started today, you basically would have been taking bees away with absolutely no stores, because the robbing bees would have come in and just blitzed everything. These colonies would not have been in a position to defend themselves. However, luckily, robbing didn't start. This is the first one, and you will probably see how disorganised the bees are. They're flying in large numbers. You will see that there is a migration towards the box. They're not streaming in at all. You will see bees fanning on the outside and on the crown board. We've left the roof off so that they can use the crown board holes and this crack between the box and the board as possible entrances so we can get more in. So I can see bees fanning, I can hear them fanning. I'm relatively confident that this queen is in this box, but look, a large number of them are still just sitting in the same place as the colony. They don't know what's going on. They have no idea what's going on. Look. Lots of fanning, washboarding, letting the bees know, but that march that you see in a swarm is not the march that you will see on most extractions. Now if I take you around to the next extraction we did this morning, the bees appear far more organised. This is a bigger colony that came out, only so slightly, but it's bigger. They are still in their original places, but far less in terms of numbers. And when I lift this up, just get this carefully, you will see we have a huge number of bees which are yet to move up onto the comb. I'm confident they will move up, but as you can see, they are absolutely festooning on the underside of this box. They are trying their hardest now at this moment in time to build back. And if we lift the lid up, we can see that we've already got a large collection of bees here. Like I say, these colonies will be left in place until the morning. Or late this evening, certainly dark. I want to give every single bee the opportunity to collect on that comb and to do what they need to do in order to be able to give us the best chance of getting these colonies through. We're now getting to a point in the summer where every extraction we do, it gets harder and harder for the bees to survive, which means that it takes more and more time and effort from us on a day-to-day basis after the extraction in order to keep these bees right. They are in the middle of a honey flow, which is quite nice, so they've got plenty coming in, but still they've now got to put their home back together. They've now got to reorganise their brood nest. They've got to do a lot of things within that box in order to make this a viable colony, or these viable colonies. So yeah, that march, wouldn't it be lovely if it happened? And I don't know how they manage to get that march every time. It's almost as if those situations have been orchestrated, and I'm not saying they have. What I'm saying is, from someone who's been here, done a large number of these. It's not what we find under any circumstances. It may be due to the way their buildings are and how they can get them out. I know that a lot of these extractions in the videos that you see are in America, and I know that they build a lot of their buildings out of timber, etc., and it may just be that they can get into them far easier, and are able to collect. I genuinely, hand on my heart, I don't know. But don't be fooled into all that. In this, we always find the Queen, and we found the Queen, and we put her in a clip, and we put her in the box. Trust me, when you're in the eye of the storm, for a want of a better word, and you are putting things together, for the beekeepers out there, you know how difficult it can be to find a queen when you are looking through the frames on your double brood. Imagine how difficult it is to find a queen when you are cutting those frames up, putting them in, you're taking roofs apart, etc., etc. It's just not feasible, and often the queen will disappear into dark nooks, crannies. Bees will jump on top of her to protect her, like a balling. If you get the queen, or in my experience, if we get the queen on 9 out of 10 occasions, we will know that we've got the queen in 7 days' time when we take the lid off the box and we have eggs and cells and no queen cells. That's the usual. We'll probably, as soon as we see eggs and cells, we'll stop looking. We'll leave them be, and we'll probably give them another 2 weeks before we open them up and start having a good look. We do have disease issues. We don't know if the diseases are in these colonies. So as we are extracting them, we are doing our initial check there and then. We are looking at the larvae, we're looking for chalk brood, sac brood, AFB, we're looking for, scrap that. You are looking for anything within that brood that doesn't look right. You know, you're not, when you're here, you are not in a position to be diagnosing stuff and looking for stuff, and you are just looking to see if there's anything there that's going to set the alarm bells ringing that these bees shouldn't come out of here, and that other bees moving in to rob and take advantage of the spilt honey are at risk. If that was to happen, a whole separate course of events must take place. Luckily we've never been there, but I'm sure at some point in the future that will happen. It has to happen, doesn't it? When you're doing this type of work, I just don't look forward to that day. But yeah, amazing, isn't it? You've got one colony which is smaller, which appears to have far more bees. It doesn't. They're just disorganised and getting the knickers in a twist, and you know, look, they're balling up at the entrance. Can you see that? They are balling up at the entrance. They're balling up under there. They haven't got a clue what's going on. They're just lost. But yet you can still see this movement in towards the box. They're still heading in. They're still fanning and washboarding. And then you've got this little colony here. That's a lot more calm. My gut feelings of what's happened, and I'm no bee behaviourist, is that on this colony in particular, the larger colony in the soffits, the bees have had to go into that entrance, and that entrance took them directly into the nest. There was inches between the entrance and the comb starting. It was there. They were on it straight away, and I think it's probably helped them settle. Whereas with this colony, the entrance was here. The bees have had to travel along the back wall, under this joist, over, down through this joist and into your nest. And I just think, you can see them running across the top of the wall, look, see them? Heading back in numbers. See them collecting, but I'm sure she's in that box. Look, see the bees on the top fanning away, telling everyone where they are and what's going on. It's the only fanning I can see of in anywhere in this. See the bees at the entrance. They're just far less organised, and it would be lovely if it was as per social media, but the truth is it isn't, you know. Or maybe we're just no good at this, and maybe someone's going to come in and tell us exactly where we went wrong and exactly how they would have done it and got every single bee into that box. I genuinely, if someone has got suggestions, please feel free. I'm not a bullhead. I'll certainly listen to you and I'll give it a try and see if I think it works or if it works for us. But yeah, whatever's happened, I love this job. I love it. It keeps you thinking, it keeps you on your toes, it keeps your brain ticking over. There is, I was just about to say you can't write a book on this, of course. My good friend Clive wrote a guide, and as he stresses all the time, it is a guide, it is not an encyclopedia and not an instruction manual. It is a guide. It's the start. The rest you have to hang the information on the skeleton that he gives you. You have to get out there and give it a go and work it out. Yeah. But again, what a beautiful day in Yorkshire, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely stunning day in Yorkshire. So folks, that's it from me. I'll probably, if I remember and if people ask, I will probably do a video on these colonies, these two colonies, once they're in the quarantine apiary getting looked at. And that's one of the other reasons why we haven't taken them back straight away. Some of the colonies in the quarantine apiary have got quite big and strong. And I did worry that if I took them home today with broken honey, that they would absolutely get robbed out. We'd take them from the frying pan and into the fire, for want of a better word. We're probably or potentially going to have to get a couple of the larger colonies within the quarantine apiary. We're possibly going to have to get them moved so we can drop their numbers, and these bees are anything that comes in is in a better position to defend itself against robbing. Let's see, or maybe we'll just get this once these are in, we'll get this quarantine apiary checked, sorted. I probably ask the bee inspector to come out and then maybe start another quarantine apiary in a more isolated location where we can take new colonies, because we've got a few to come out in the next couple of weeks, which are going to be a little bit testy. Got one in Leeds, possibly one in Penrith, one in Seaham, Sunderland, one in Newcastle. Where's the other ones? Middlesbrough, Scottish Borders, Northumberland. Where else are we looking at? So as you can probably guess, we cover a large area to do these. Yeah, and these bees are going to have to come back and go into somewhere where they can be looked after properly. Glad I've done this video. Actually, it's made us start to really think about what we're going to do with these bees coming back. I think a second quarantine apiary may absolutely be the solution. As I've said before, we often like to have a donor colony, at least one donor colony within a quarantine apiary. So if any of these start struggling, say the queen doesn't make it, or there's an issue, or they're not going to get strong enough for the winter, we can give them a frame of eggs and brood and larvae, or we can give them a frame of stores, or whatever it is. But we like everything within that apiary to be isolated. We don't want to be spreading disease. We have to make sure that everything stops, and I certainly don't want to be taking things backwards and forwards. And yeah, this is the thought process of what goes through your head when you come to check 2 extractions. We're not just thinking about this one, we're thinking about the one next week, the week after. Now, like I say, we've been lucky with a robin, but if you're going to give one of these a go in the future, from now on, from the summer, I would strongly suggest that you have a big think about robin as an issue and whether it's safe to do that extraction. We'll probably have one which is isolated, that we'd be more inclined to do with a risk of robin than we would in a domestic setting or like a residential setting. So if that does happen, then I'll take a video and I'll potentially show you the repercussions of that, and then you can think about how that would interfere with an extraction in particular circumstances. You know, if you're going to do one in a school on a weekday, probably not a good idea. If you're doing one in a house like this, sat in the middle of nowhere, you might get away with it. Well, you will get away with it because you're not running the risk of people being hurt. You can manage them risks a hell of a lot better, and ultimately that's what bee removal is about. People think bee removal is about taking bees out of a building. Bee removal is 110% about risk management. That's what it's about. You are looking at your risks and you are working out how to reduce them. If you can reduce them, great. If you can't reduce them, then you have to have a serious think about whether the job is safe to do or not. And I understand that customers will want them out regardless. We've got one at the minute. They are taking ages to put the PO number through for. Ages. They've promised to it for about 3 weeks. It should have been done 3 weeks ago. I've got a horrible feeling that what's going to occur is they're going to send it through and say, yep, you can go. Am I going to have to say, I'm sorry, you're too late in the summer? But they're warned about that. You tell people about timescales and when it is safe and when it isn't safe. And if this robin picks up, they will definitely get told that it isn't safe to be done. And they'll probably get the hump with whether they're a big client because they'll want it done. But they'd get the hump with us a hell of a lot more if we did the job and something went wrong or someone got hurt or HSC were called in because there's a million bees flying around a domestic street. So we have to be sensible with what we're doing, and as this summer comes on, these colonies are going to get bigger and stronger and more desperate for honey, so please bear that in mind when you're giving it a go. But yeah, enjoy it. There's no better job in the world, is the look of that. No better job in the world. I love every second of it. And the bees, of course, never give you an opportunity to stop thinking, to stop addressing what you think may or may not have occurred. They will always, on every occasion, have you wanting. It's better, isn't it? Lid on there with a little crack. Look at them though, look how quiet they are. Whole different colony, isn't it? Whole different colony. Well folks, if you've got any questions, anything you'd like to ask or anything you'd like to suggest, please feel free. I think we grow together as an industry. We absolutely grow together as an industry, so feel free to have your 10 penneths worth. I've got thick skin and I look forward to hearing from you all. Good afternoon, God bless.